Welcome to interactive webinars for small and home-based businesses. I'm Karen Reddypenning of Monarch Empowerment Coaching, and I'm here today with Matthew Obulafor of APEG Canada and Renee Morin of EBC Services. Today, I'm going to talk to you and share a little bit about the basics of managing your time. Today, I'm going to share with you some statistics. Some of them you won't even believe. I was shocked myself when I was looking at the numbers. We're going to talk about how to get started and on getting a grasp on your time and managing it. We're going to talk about different calendars and what will be best for you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about categorizing and prioritizing. Today is just an overview, so that the goal today is just to give you a quick idea how to get started on having a grasp on what you do with your time and also how you can start to manage it a little bit better and get more time back in your week. We're not going to have time today to go through all the details, but I will have a couple more webinars coming up and we're going to go into a lot of detail. This is one of my favorite topics, so I could go on and on about it, but I won't. So I'm going to try to keep this under 20 minutes to half an hour for you. So let's talk about some statistics. We all have 168 hours a week. No disputing that. We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not changing. So how are we spending it? Here's a quick list of some of the numbers I found when I was doing some research. We spend about 55 hours of our free time staring at our screens. So iPads, computers, phones, TVs, and that's not even including work or business. We spend about 54 more hours in job-related activity, and that includes also going to and from work. We spend 28 to 30 hours a week watching TV. We spend 8 hours a week of family time. So let me just be clear, that is not daily, that's weekly. So that's just over an hour every single day on average of quality family time. Something I found very interesting when I went online and I was doing my research and looking at different numbers is that even when families do get together, 7 out of 10 parents actually say that the time they spend is in silence in front of a TV. They said it's because they're busy reading or playing games on the computer, or they're just simply too tired to talk, and so they spend it in quiet time. We spend about 66 hours sleeping, and about 17 and a half hours of our week is spent eating. And then during that time where we're eating, we're actually spending about half of that doing other things. So we're watching TV, driving, working, writing, all sorts of things. We spend about 12 hours a week on household activities, including cleaning, grocery shopping, planning for meals, your yard and home maintenance, that sort of thing. We spend just under 4 hours a week on average if we're not a student studying. And if we're students, we tend to spend about 39 hours a week studying. Spend about 27 hours relaxing and just leisure time or social activity, and 8 hours a week on email and phone communication, whether it's by text or by phone. These stats you might think don't make a lot of sense. The number's not adding up. Why is that? It's because we're multitasking. We're trying to anyways. So many of the things I listed here overlap with other activities. So we're doing 2 or 3 things at a time. And you probably will agree with me, when you try to do too many things at a time and a little bit of everything, it tends to get a lot of nothing done. So that's something that, of course, if you need more detail on, or in the future presentations, you'll see we're going to get into more details on that. And I can help you to manage that multitasking so you actually can get your tasks in the day complete. So getting started. How do you get started? Where do you even start for managing your time? I'll tell you right now, you need to treat your time just as you do your finances. You need to put in a budget. How much time are you spending? What are you spending that time on? You need to track it. And before you can even start to create a financial budget, as with a time budget, you need to start by looking at exactly how you're spending your time now. So you have a picture of what you're doing now and how that is or isn't working. So how do you do that? First thing I want you to do is you're going to write down everything. And I mean everything for 2 to 4 weeks, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Write down when you get up, write down your sleep time, write down your TV time. If you're doing 2 things at a time, write both of those things down in that time frame. Any overlap in activity, document it all. There's no such thing as too much detail for this. Then activities that you didn't get done, deadlines that you didn't meet, those sorts of things, keep track of those as well. Keep track of your to-do list as well on the side and what you're actually doing and not doing off that list and where you're putting that list into your day. You have daily, weekly, and monthly recurring events. So if you have an appointment every week on Monday, make sure you write that in, and that's happening. Basically everything. Don't leave anything out. This is going to be really important on getting that big picture, okay? That's where you start with your basic budget. You start looking at what are you doing, what do you have right now, and how's it been working for you. So you're going to analyze that time. How has it been working for you? Okay? Time wasters. Some are really obvious and some are not so obvious. For me, one of my things when I wrote down a time a couple of years ago was how much TV I was watching. There was a time before I had kids that I literally scheduled my week around what shows were on TV. I used to feel bad about that. Now I don't, because it's a really good example and it's my own. I barely watch TV now. Not to say I don't love those shows, but I don't watch the TV like I used to. Also, are you multitasking? Look at the time that you've tracked. How many things are you doing at a time, and how much of it are you really getting done? Gaps in the time. Do you have any empty spaces? So what are you doing in those times? What did you do in those spaces? Was it a nap? Was it that you forgot to write down something? Like, what were you doing? Were you doing nothing? Were you watching TV? Were you on social media? Anything. Time online. So look at how much time was personal or social time online and how much you were online for work or for business. Now, calendars. No, you know what? Let's go back to analyzing your time for a minute. So once you've got all this, and I'm going to go into this later in more detail in my future webinars, and if you need information sooner, like I said at the beginning, don't hesitate to contact me. But analyze that time. So take a look at it. Now you see those gaps in time. Now you see how much time you're doing spending online, just socializing, or on Facebook, or just really wasting your time doing nothing, even just scanning the internet. Take a look at those and see and ask yourself, how much of this time is being wasted? How much of this time could I take back? And look and see and how balanced it is. Is it balanced with what you're in line with your goals? And we'll get into that a little bit too. Okay, so calendars. We've got paper calendars, we've got electronic calendars. There's lots of people out there right now that are, one or the other. What do you know? How do you know which is best for you? Right? You've got day timers, calendars that are paper wall calendars, desk calendars, agendas, date books. There's so many things out there with different things. And then you've got your electronic versions. You've got your apps, your Google calendars, your Outlook, all sorts of things. They all have different views. So you have a daily view, a weekly, monthly, hourly. Some have a notes and lists section. Some are customizable. You can put grocery lists, budgets, all kinds of things in there. Which is better? Honestly, it comes down to your personal preference, and really, really important to keep in mind as well, productivity. So which one are you more productive with? Which one are you going to look at the most and actually use? The key is, no point having a calendar if you're not using it. So take a look at that. You may have to try both paper and electronic, and you may have to test them out and then see where that goes. I'm a paper person. I love my paper calendar. I don't look at my Outlook, which I use at work. I don't look at my Google Calendar, which I tried to use. I find I'm looking towards that paper. I need to see it in front of me. So categorizing your time. We want to categorize everything we do. So it's going to help you later on. And again, that is actually something we're going to talk specifically about in a webinar. Prioritizing your time. All of your activity can be allocated into just a few basic categories. So I have 4 or 5 that I like to use and I like to teach people when I meet with them one-on-one or in small groups. And we allocate our time. And you're going to categorize that time in these 4 or 5 basic categories. Everything will fit into those at some point. And then you're going to add that, you're going to do that with both your business and your personal time. Okay? So you have these 24 hours a day. What are you doing with them on the whole? This is going to help your business if you're in business. This is going to help you at home if you're struggling to get more family time. Whatever it is your goal is with gaining this time back in your week. Color coding is one of my favorite ways to manage and categorize my time. So I have my 4 or 5 colors. And what I do, for example, is family time is blue. So anything that's blue is family time. That's not doctor's appointments. That's me with my family. So it could be a birthday party. It could just be at home spending the day with the kids, which I did earlier today. Whatever it is, I color that blue, and then I know, and I have a really good bird's eye view through the week of where I've allocated family time, and that's the time that is focused with them and 100% with them. And this bird's eye view gives you a really good idea of your balance. So do you have too much? Do you have not enough? Right? So you can do that with all the categories that we'll talk about when we meet, if you're meeting with me or in our future presentations. Prioritizing. You want to prioritize your time. Your goals. Does how you spend your time line up with those? If it doesn't, odds are you're probably not going to reach those goals. So you want to really look at that and think of that while you're doing your schedule. So you want to plan ahead. You've got the month, you've got the week, and each day. You want to really keep track of the top 3 things that you have in your weekly goals and your priorities. And one thing you can do is make a list, a daily list, and make that a task list on the side of your calendar. When you're planning your week, you'll know what you have for big tasks. Write those down and make it no more than 10. And the reason I say 10 is because anything more than that becomes difficult to manage. You want to see progress. You want to see productivity. So when you have 10, what you want to do, and you're going to include personal, you're going to include business tasks on that list, on that daily list, and you're going to cross off things as you go. Why? Because then you will see that you've been productive, and nothing beats knowing and that feeling of accomplishment, like you've done something and been productive. This is a really high overview today. We haven't got into deep details, and I've done that on purpose. I don't want to give you too much at a time. Like I said, I could probably talk for 3 hours on this, and I'm not going to today. So we are going to have a couple more presentations coming up here in the next month or so to go into some more details. In the meantime, today we talked just a little bit about those statistics. Where do you fit in? So take a look at that. When you analyze your time, check and see how much time you actually spend on these things and when you're doing things. So for example, if you have a family, what are you doing with that time? Track what you're doing with that time. Don't just put family time when you're tracking your time. See how you're spending that, and are you spending quality time or quantity time or both? Take a look at those things. Is it balanced? You want to check and see if it's balanced. Your calendars, what is right for you? So you want to try, and often, and what I recommend a lot of the time, if you don't already use a calendar of some sort, is try a couple different things. Try a day timer, try a monthly view. Try an electronic calendar like a Google Calendar or an app if you find one you think you like, and try something on paper and see which one you're drawn to more and which one you actually use more and which one's going to make you more productive. If you're not using it, it's not effective and there's no point in having it. So do that, and then take your time that you've tracked, categorize everything. So break it down into a couple categories. If you need some assistance in what those categories could be or what I believe they should be to be the most effective with your time, don't hesitate to call me or send me a message. You can message me on Facebook at Monarch Empowerment Coaching, or go to the Mum Manager and you can find me there. Categorizing, don't forget, gives you a really good view of how you spend your time, so it'll help you with your personal work-life balance and to make sure you're doing profit-producing activities if you're in business, and make sure you're spending the time you actually want to be and you're trying to spend with your family. Then you won't feel so much like you're trying to do a whole bunch of a little bit of everything and you're not getting anything done. You want to make sure you include your personal and business time when you're in your calendars and when you're categorizing your time, so that you are able to really see where that is. Prioritize your time, make lists, don't forget to write things down, and check it and cross those things off so you know what you're doing and you're actually accomplishing something, and you can see that you're accomplishing something. So what are we going to do next time? We're going to talk about time blocks a little bit. What are they and how they can help? And we're going to talk about managing those time blocks, how you can get more out of your hours. I really believe that probably 9 out of 10 of us could probably get 10 to 20 hours back in our week to use however we want, whether it's to add for more business, personal, leisure time, anything. Really anything. So also a side note, if you would like a list of the resources I used for my stats, don't hesitate to contact me and I'll give you that list. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.